Hey, Liza, thanks so much for joining me this evening.
Hello.
It is wonderful to have you here. I am just making sure that I'm recording. So we love to get, people that are super enthusiastic about finding their health and just do kind of a little live interview because it's just super inspiring for people that are on their health journey and it helps them a ton. It helped me, a ton just I did that like at least once a week, just watch some inspiring stories to just keep me going. And I'm sure you did as well
Yep.
while you were doing this. So I'm just going to have you, we're looking at like a amazing transformation picture, a picture that you just kind of found. We always do that. We find like random pictures, places, and we're just like, what the heck? So tell
Yeah.
me a little bit about, first of all, just, like what your results have been in the past. I want to say it hasn't even been that long. So tell me like what you started at and kind of where you're at right now.
Well, last summer I was up to 244 pounds and I started the program on September 17th. So it has just been 7 months and I am now down 83 pounds total. So
Wow.
I
So
hit
what
the
size
80.
pants was the when you were at your biggest size?
I'm not sure what I was there. I don't even, I must have been 249 maybe there or around the 244. That was kind of in between a yo-yo point. I think I had fluctuated maybe 20 pounds after that, and gotten down. But I found this picture and I remember being in this picture, but I don't remember being that heavy that day. And so it's kind of hard to look back at those, that I've got a lot of pictures that I'm not in because of my weight. And so when I randomly see these heavy pictures that somebody was able to sneak, it's a little shocking sometimes, but that's my life.
Yeah.
That was me. And now I've dropped over the 80 pounds in 7 months and I feel phenomenal. So it I just want to keep going and feeling better, and hopefully my story can inspire somebody else to do the same thing. Because if I can do it, anybody can.
I know. And I remember when you first started, we were talking about this a couple of minutes ago, and you were just like, Julia, I don't want anybody to know. Like, nobody's going to know. I'm never going to tell anybody. And, tell me a little bit about what your why was when you first decided to start.
Well, I had kind of had a rough year. My health wasn't very good. I knew that if I were to probably go into the doctor, they would probably, they would more than likely tell me I needed to lose the weight, that it was all weight related. But I knew there was a thinner version of me in there. I knew that it worked for people and I've watched people do it. I needed to be ready. And one day I woke up and I was just ready to do it. It wasn't a question of really how the process was going to go. It's just like, how am I going to stick with it? And is it going to work for me? But I started and I haven't looked back. It has been consistent for 7 months, and I've done this every day in and out, and I love it. Very easiest thing I've ever done. And to be able to stick with a program for 7 months straight, it's phenomenal.
And you were originally inspired by a Facebook post.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
My
yeah.
now coach Tracy had amazing results in a short period of time. And we had been friends on Facebook for quite a few years. So watching her transform like that, I'm thinking, man, if she can do this, I have to try it. But I watched her for a long time and I pushed off the phone calls and I made excuses of, why it wasn't, but I wasn't ready clearly. So when I finally got on that call with her, I knew within 5 minutes, this is what I was going to do. I was going to try it and I was going to get my health back in order. And I didn't want to feel the way I did. I was exhausted. I was in physical pain and I didn't want to spend any time with my kids. I was mentally unstable too. So getting into this and feeling better, sleeping better, it was all worth it.
Well, and I always, thank Leslie for really starting. I talked with her tonight as well. And, really living her journey out loud, not waiting, and I didn't, I did not share my journey from the get-go like she did. I think I was down like 45 pounds before, people were finally like literally shaking me by the shoulders going, tell me what you're doing. And I'm like, fine. So, it's just so much fun. And I think what you'll find is it brings you such another added accountability,
Yes.
to your program, helping somebody else, because that's really what we're here on earth to do. We're here on earth to, I always say, I don't know if you were in any of the training that we were in this weekend, but one of them that made a huge impact on me was if you had to write your eulogy right now.
Yep, I heard that one.
Watch that one. And I was just like, I had just been to a funeral of my neighbor's who was 93. And, I was just like, man, I got to get busy, so the why, became all about me for a while. And now it's all about everybody
Right.
else. Because I think about that every day. Like, I've got this day to make an impact, and now I'm in quarantine, but what can I do to still make an impact? And that's what you're doing as well by living your journey, out loud, with what you're doing. And we were talking about this with Leslie that, and you've experienced this, and we'll kind of go back to maybe like just your eating habits, like growing up as a child. None of us seems like in the Midwest have the best eating habits.
Right.
But, 85% of people without some kind of behavioral support from Dr. Anderson in our Habits of Health book will regain it within a couple of years. So I just get so frustrated, and you'll find this too, when people try to back you into this diet corner and they don't, want to engage or take your calls, and you really hope that you can get them to a point, of just even reading, even if it's a sentence a week. So let's go back to, when you were younger, and I'm going to try to see if I can get this share to not to be on this picture, but I might have to go off and on it here for a second. There's something weird going on with since people were hacking into the system, into Zoom, they're making it a little bit more difficult to get to change the picture out. So we'll go to this one and see if it, so it was, so what age were you here in this photo? Can you see it?
No photo yet.
Oh, goodness. Well, I can. It's so bizarre. So it's a picture of you when you're, you've got like a crown and a tiara on.
Oh, yeah. So,
do you see it now?
yeah, that was my senior year in high school. I was homecoming queen. So I was always the bigger girl in my class. Just through elementary school, through high school, I was always the large friend. That's just kind of how life was for me. Food was always an addiction. I don't think I understood that until I was an adult, maybe in the last 10 years. But it was nothing for me to only want pop and candy and junk food and fast food. And that has been an ongoing life struggle for me. It's not unlike any other addiction. I mean, it really is. When you have an addiction to food, that is your go-to for a lot of things. So emotional eating, and just because, why not?
Yeah. And, one of the things that I, that we try to get people to do, and this is just, a very powerful thing with food, with children, with reacting to anything, is this thing called Stop, Challenge, Choose.
Yes.
And I kind of do that throughout my day. Sometimes I fail at it miserably, just even in my emotional state, and sometimes I'm really good at it, but I typically try to get to the end of the day and challenge myself to see where I could have improved. So I don't know if you read that ebook, what the Stop Challenge Shoes, or even parts of it.
I have, and honestly, I love it, and I have it written in my planner, but I've practiced so much just not needing those things. I can have those things around me, and I can have the temptation anywhere I go, but I don't want those things. I made the decision when I started the program that my health was more important, and to see the weight come off was more important. I don't have to sit and think. I don't feel tempted. I don't have the cravings for those things. I can buy them for the kids, and I can go through McDonald's, and I never need anything. It doesn't even cross my mind. What can I order? Should I try it? Just one bite. I just choose not to. So I don't have to say it to myself every single day. That has literally just become what I've done the last 7 months.
So what other things have you replaced that emotional fulfillment that used to be food? What other things are you doing now?
Really, it's been personal growth. I do more reading and connecting with our community within the program, and just keeping on top of that. I think that mentally makes me feel better, so I don't feel like I have to go and have any comfort food. I don't feel like I have an emotional reason to go open the fridge and find out what I can snack on. It's been simple for me. It's a constant. I'm choosing to keep moving forward. I want to see that scale drop, and I want to reach what they say is the healthy weight, which I honestly don't remember. I don't think I was ever there in my adult life. Maybe elementary school, maybe, but I was probably considered obese in elementary too. So this is ultimately the healthiest I've ever been in my adult life.
And have you had, and you might not have had any of these, I can't remember. Did you have any like other health concerns, like blood pressure that has gone down, or any of those
all things that I avoided going to the doctor for? I was most likely pre-diabetic. I had heard that years ago when I was at the weight I had been at. So knowing, I was having dizzy spells, I knew where I was headed. I did not want to go in. I knew what they would tell me. So I was going to take control and do it myself. So nobody else had to tell me what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's good. And the other non-scale victories too, like, have you ever recently gone like bike riding or hiking or any of those things that you used to do?
Actually, I haven't done too much of that stuff. All the activities, because of the program and the recommendation of not needing to exercise, I really took advantage of that. But the simple act of getting in and out of a vehicle was a big deal. Quentin has a lifted up truck. So when he noticed that I could start jumping up in that truck without having to pull myself in, that it was a big deal. And just being able to bend down and tie my shoe or get up and go up the steps at a normal pace without getting winded, all those things, it made such a big difference. And I maybe didn't celebrate them out loud with people and share that too much, but it's worth, just for those little things, it's worth it. It makes me a little emotional, but it's a good thing.
Yeah. And, what would you tell somebody that was kind of in your shoes? I always tell people you don't have to be like really ready. Just like when sometimes you have people that call you and they're just really not, at a place where they are ready.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can call me and we can talk, and I can, chat a little bit about you, and I can explain what might work, might not be a good fit, but it's just might be worth, hearing couple different ideas, and then maybe just poking around in our private Facebook group could be. I have a gal that poked around in there for like over a year, and she just wasn't ready. And then all of a sudden she was ready, and she's lost a tremendous amount of weight and just so vibrant and happy. But she had to be ready. Yeah. So, would you tell people, do you have people that you talk to that you're just like, let's just.
Typically, in my case, when they're not ready, they just don't move forward, and that's okay. I can't want it for them. So if they're not, they watch, or, they maybe get engaged in our private group, but they remove themselves, and that's okay. But I don't ever want to push this on anybody, because I clearly wasn't ready for a long time. I mean, I probably watched on Facebook for 4 months or so. But there comes a point where you are going to wake up one day and you're ready. And if this is the program that works for you, great. It has been great for me for 7 months, and I plan on continuing and helping as many people as I can. But it is any journey like this, you have to be ready, and you have to be all in.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It just doesn't work. It might work a little bit, but I'm telling you, if you're just kind of sort of doing it, you're hangry and you're kind of grouchy. You're still losing weight, but you don't have like all the people that, if you look around at most of the people that are doing it right, they are vibrant and they have energy. They wake up before their alarm. They have mental clarity. Like, you can't even believe. I had one lady that she was just like, I can't believe this. I just like studied for this crazy test, and I'm sure I'm going to say it wrong. It's like Series 6, Series 7, something like that. Like a financial test. And she's like, I just burned through it and I just did well. And she's like, it's awesome. Like, this should almost be like a study kind of thing, like a focus.
I can testify to that mental clarity. I mean, I have gone for years. I've had a really good friend reach out to me numerous times trying to help me clear my head, get out of that cloud. And I probably was a constant repeat. Like, I felt like I was walking in a cloud for years. And in September, that was like, I was done. I was done living that way, and I needed to make changes, and I did it. And that mental cloud has just gone. And I can think and I can focus and I can do multiple things at one time and not feel like I'm bogged down. And that alone, just to get through my days that way, the mental clarity has been awesome.
Yeah. And that's awesome. Well, you are going to find that, this is just going to continue to get better. And then when you do get to add some exercise back in and you get to transition, and there might be, I tell people, like, transition is different for everybody. And you might find that there are just some foods that are so addictive to you that they're just not something that you should ever reintroduce.
There will be things, and I've known all of those things that I've known, like I likely will never be able to have a Snickers bar again. Because that was, if I had one bite, I needed it the next day. So processed sugar stuff and breads, I have to probably avoid.
Yeah. And it's just one of those things we stick to. We try to have really, pretty healthy food. If you look at my page of what I cooked tonight for dinner, and all of us, like, we still cook really, really well. Like, we eat really good food. We eat a lot of it. Sometimes I feel like I'm eating all day long. But, it's just like a lot of really good food. My son, all my kids, they love most of the recipes. There's a couple that they're kind of like, but there are, most of them they have loved. So
I would say a lot of the recipes they're family friendly. I don't want to
repeat what happened to me to have happened to them, because that's just not fun. And I will have to say, so we do have a teen program as well. And I have a teen that just started today. And it's so helpful if you ever have any people that don't even need to be on the program, but just for kids. We have these sheets for checklists of different things that you should be eating every day, like this many fruits, this many vegetables, and you can have your kids just, even laminated or something, so you don't need to keep printing off the same piece of paper. But, just before they do have like a dessert or a sweet or whatever, if that's a problem for them, then they need to know, okay, you need to have, all of this.
Right.
And have that cookie, because in my house growing up, I could have whatever I wanted. If I wanted we had I still remember we had so much pop, and I lived in the South for a long time, so we called it soda there. So now I have to bring myself back to the Midwest and call it pop again. So we had pop from the pop shop. We would sit there and drink and have burping contests. And then we had big things of Whoppers, those malted milk ball things. I don't know if you ever ate those. But we had full access to anything that we wanted. And if we had breakfast, we just had pancakes with syrup. There was no protein. That
was Grandma's house.
The favorite.
Grandma fed you well, and it didn't matter if you were hungry or not. She was feeding you.
Do you have a weird thing that you used to eat? My mom used to make Skippy peanut butter chunky with lettuce and Miracle Whip on white Wonder bread.
I didn't have real strange things. I mean, stuff that maybe my kids would think was strange, but
we had
we were a big family and close-knit to the family, so we just ate everywhere we went.
Yeah, everything was about the food, but we had the milk that we had for our cereal was half and half.
Oh, yeah, that was at Grandma's. Yep, for the cereal and the oatmeal, and that was the best.
That was the best. But, it probably just comes from the farm. When you're on the farm and you're working that hard, you need that half and half. But if you're just sitting around watching Sesame Street all day,
I did not need that.
Probably don't need the half and half. But, just you're doing great. You're rocking it. It's been inspiring to see your pictures and your stuff. Every time I see them, it's crazy when you see people, because we lose an average, somewhere between 10 to 12 pounds a month. And 10 to 12 pounds a month is a lot of fat. It's a lot. And so when you start looking at people, you're like, who is that? I don't even recognize you anymore. And that's what, I don't know if your family members do that. My daughter will hug me and she's like, where's the rest of you? It's just crazy. So,
I can wear my 14-year-old son's clothing. So he's been in shock about that. And I get a lot of comments from people. I didn't recognize you the other day. I didn't even realize it was you. So the transformation has definitely been noticeable to a lot of people, and I will continue sharing my story if it helps with somebody else. So
great. Well, and people will recognize your voice and they'll be like, is that her twin sister or something? I didn't know she had. But, you're doing a great job. Just keep inspiring people. Keep living your life out loud. If you don't know us, what we love to do is we love to put some inspiration out in the world throughout the day. So check your Facebook for recipes, each day that's going to, inspire you to try something healthy. Hopefully you'll see an amazing transformation that might speak to you. But just reach out and, it's worth a 20-minute conversation just to get your questions answered and to see what would be the best. So you're doing a great job. I really like the decor behind you. It's got a lot of
one of my projects.
Nice decorating. I've got my one decoration on the wall that I sit in front of, but the rest of my house is just totally boring. I need you to come over when we're not in quarantine. You can decorate. But
awesome. I love that.
Right. Well, it was good to talk to you, and we will keep on going.
Awesome. Thanks, Julia.
Bye.